Welcome. I'm Krista Gibson, the host of Keeping It Real and the publisher of NewSpiritJournal.com. Both the publication and this show are all about grounding spirituality into practical everyday life. And you know, one of the things that I absolutely love about the work I do is that I get to meet and talk to such interesting people. And today, my guest is another one of these really interesting people. I'll tell you a tiny bit about him. His name is Indra Rinzler. Now, he's been to 56 countries. Think about that. 56. That's a lot of countries. He was a book publisher for 10 years and a global trader for 12 years. He works with clients across the globe. And one of the things he does, he has joined up Vedic astrology with something called the Enneagram. And we're going to be talking about that in our interview. He exhibits at healing arts shows. He gives talks, classes, and seminars. And in the last 2.5 years, he has given over 300 readings and 40 classes. Wow. He is a busy person. So let's see what Indra can tell us about Vedic astrology, the Enneagram, and something that he said, which I bring up right away in the interview, is he says, I'm not trying to give you a better story. I'm trying to get you out of your story. Is that interesting? I think so. Let's find out. Hello and welcome, Indra.
Hello, how are you, Krista?
I'm good. Now, what a fascinating life you have lived. And I want to quote something from your materials that you sent me, where you said, I'm not trying to give you a better story. I'm trying to get you out of story. And I look at your life, and what a story it is. So talk to us a bit about your story and how does that fit in with what you do?
Wow, okay. So getting it down to a nutshell. So the story that I'm talking about there is the beliefs about ourselves. I have been on talking about my story. I see how it all fits together now. The mind is racing.
Right.
I've been on the spiritual path 45 years. I've been doing astrology, been involved in astrology, interested in astrology 45 years. I picked up Autobiography of a Yogi and my first astrology book approximately the same time when I was living in the Bay Area. I recently moved to the Bay Area of California. And so the better story is that most of the techniques that we use, most of the healers, American medicine is all involved in trying to give you a better story. Mm-hmm. They're trying to give you a little bit less pain.
Right.
They're trying to give you a little bit better situation. And this is never ending. I was just thinking about psychology is never ending. Mm-hmm. A wonderful wisdom in psychology, but it never ends because you can never find the end. You can always keep analyzing your behavior. Mm-hmm. Spirituality gives you a way out. It's an ending because when you come back to the moment, then there's no story. In the moment, there's nothing needed. There's nothing extra needed because the moment has everything. Hmm. This is the no story. So to go from the better story of everybody wants the survey. Everybody wants a 10%, more money, or 10% more lovers,
more something,
or 10% more trips. Whatever level they're on, everybody wants. That's the more story,
right?
Better. And so I had a teacher, Eli Jackson there, my first Enneagram teacher. He said, you can make it the most beautiful prison you want. That you can make it give it an 80-inch. He probably said 50-inch TV then. But an 80-inch TV, you can make it plush and beautiful and house and gardens, but it is still a prison. So the way we get out of that prison is to let go of the story, is to be content with what we have in the moment. And the spiritual, the experiences of my life have led me. There was in my own nature was the searching nature.
Right.
That the path has led me to have awakening experiences about 10 years ago. Well, even further, but a particular experience 10 years ago in Hardwar in India. I've been lucky enough to be in India every winter since '98, except for one. Mm. And mainly the last years have been 3 and 4 months.
Wow.
So I've had a chance to sit with a lot of teachers, and I've synthesized all of these teachings, plus 25 years with Yogananda, almost 20 years with the Enneagram. It's ended up with, I'll let you speak in a second, it just ended up with a viewpoint that is what I now am able to share, and that's at the core of this phrase that you used. Please.
So here's my question. So I hear what you're saying, and I can hear my viewers thinking this, as do I. So let's look at somebody who's in pain, somebody who maybe has a health issue, a serious health issue, and they're watching this, and they're saying, But I do want more health. I do want better health. I don't want to feel bad. How can he tell me I should just be in this moment and that makes it all okay?
Yes, well, I appreciate your question. There's the conundrum. I remember, this is not to equate this with ill health, and I've been lucky enough to have excellent health, considering I'm getting to be darn old. and my wife doesn't, so I've had a chance to live with it and see it. But the thing, so I remember in India one time they were having a wedding outside my room, and in India at the weddings they blast the music. I mean, you can't think anymore; it's so loud. So I learned to go to the center of the noise. In the center of the noise, I couldn't hear it. So the illness is actually happening to the body, but we are not the body. Hmm. This is why we can't improve anything. We are the essence. We are already perfect as we are. And so it's about getting back to the truth of the essence. The body will have illness. The body's illness is a wonderful opportunity. I have a good friend down here who, after she was cured by cancer by John of God, developed a group called Blessed by Cancer. Hmm. So this is the other side of it. So the illness is probably trying to tell you something. It's a feedback mechanism. Trying to tell you something, and it makes for a darn unhappy and a suffering life. Mm-hmm. So it's not about one time somebody said, well, suppose I only had 9 fingers, and the teacher said, I was sitting there for this outside, well, then you have gratitude for 9, and she said, well, what about 8? Well, then you have gratitude for 8, and then what about 5? Well, then you have happy that you got 5. So it's a never-ending story. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Right. It's not about better health. Right. It's about better appreciation for the health that you have. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Focusing on what you do have rather than what you don't have. And,
there you go.
I like what you said about going to the heart of the sound, and then you couldn't hear it.
When I went to the heart of the sound, when I went to emptiness at the heart, it's the eye of the hurricane. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear it, and it wasn't a problem.
Right. So somehow to go to the heart of whatever your experience is through meditation, through practices.
You have to not take it personal. You have to not think that it's happening for you, not to you. You can't become defeatist. You can't give your power away. You can't give we give our power away to the doctors. We give our power away to healers who don't really understand. My wife has been through so many doctors who, what they do is they lay out their program, but their program hasn't worked for her until now. Finally, we found one because he's a bit of a listener and he's come up with his own theories.
Right.
And he's actually dealing with what the body, the actual effect of the body. It's not the symptoms. Mm-hmm. The illness. My wife told me this, I think yesterday, that I may quote this wrong, but the colitis isn't an illness. Cancer is an illness. Colitis is a symptom.
Okay.
That powerful, huh?
Yes.
So the idea is that if we can go beyond we get stuck in the symptoms.
Right.
see them for what they are as if they're guideposts. This is a kiss of God. This is the blessing from God. Is that you're so anxious that you're developing that the glands can't work right.
Right.
So the symptoms manifest, and if you don't take care of it, then the disease happens. Years and years ago, I had another teaching that I liked from an American Indian medicine healer that I heard about, and he talked about curing versus healing. That he tries to heal, but he may not cure. The disease may kill the body, but you want to heal the soul.
Right.
That what's happening to the body is not the same as the soul. So I think we want to see those as different, as they are different to me, and that you can feel that you can feel joy. You know, the joy of the saints. I was just thinking about Corrie ten Boom. I don't know if you ever heard about her, but
I did,
one of the
yes.
that went through the war and the concentration camps
Amazing
and came out.
Story. Yes.
Yeah. So she's someone that it isn't about the outward circumstance. It's an extreme situation.
Right.
It's an extreme situation by any means, and illness is a prison just like that. When we believe in that, I'm the disease. I'm the stuckedness.
Right.
I'm the limitation. That's the story that most people are trying to give you a better story. They're trying to say, well, don't be quite so limited, or don't be quite so stuck. But I want you to get stuck with this rather than this other thing that you're stuck on.
Right.
They just give you something a little sweeter. It can be very helpful. And it can be closer to your truth. You know, it's a little bit further on. It's a baby step, and we have to do that. But
shifting our gears here a little bit, you work with Vedic astrology and the Enneagram. Now, I know that most people watching this are familiar with astrology. And I think most people are familiar with the idea of Vedic astrology, but I'm not sure everybody watching knows what the Enneagram is. So do you want to talk about that some and kind of how that fits into your worldview?
Okay, so the Enneagram of personality, there are 9 personality types. It's about 50 years old. The Enneagram is ancient. My teacher said that it's older than the planet. What he meant is Enneagram, 9-sidedness. Enneagram, 9-sided figure from Greek. So 9-sidedness. The Egyptians had 9 gods. The South American cultures had 9 gods. 9-sidedness. We think of triads. We think of a partner. That's 2. We think of with the one kid. That's a triad. You think of 4s are the 4 elements, the 4 bases. There's 4 noble truths in Buddhism. So it has an energy. It has an Enneagram is based on 9 personality types, 9 core, 7 billion people, but only 9 personality types. When we know what our personality type is, we learn our triggers. It's an incredibly useful tool. It's an incredible spiritual tool because as I say, the psychology you never end with the psychology. You keep analyzing. But with the spirituality, with the trigger, you can come back to the moment. You can realize, you just start observing what your behavior is and see from the Enneagram, it's a codification of the mechanicalness of our personalities. It's mind-boggling how accurate it is. It's like reading that I'm an Aries sun sign and seeing similarities, but it's much, much more because there are only 9 and you are deeper into it, where with an Aries sun you have, a Cancer moon and a Pisces and a Pisces that. So you've got all these flavors going on. That's a little bit of why it's confusing. Astrology looks at us in a fragmented way. The Enneagram looks at us a holistic way. So it was started It was discovered by psychologists and spiritual people. It was codified at Esalen in California in the early 70s. In a sense, it came from Gurdjieff, the mystic from the early 1900s. It was kind of his teaching. He never really wanted to tell anybody what his teachings really were. You had to kind of figure it out. And so here's an expression of it that took, 50 years for it to develop, and another 50 years now. So I used it together with astrology, which is not done hardly anywhere. I learned it from a master teacher who is a hermit, and he does it, but not outwardly. And the idea is that you get a different perspective on ourselves by looking at both our astrology, strengths and weaknesses. What I do with astrology is not predictions. I'm interested in the strengths and weaknesses of this incarnation, of this personality that we think that's who we are, but it's not who we are.
So when you combine them too now, because I'm curious in terms of getting us out of our stories, when you do the astrology and the Enneagram and all of that, so we find out what patterns we have, does that help us get out of the stories, or is that part of the story?
No, it helps us get out of the stories. As soon as we're realizing that we're obnoxious to people, especially if we're in our 50s and 60s, we're very willing to let go of that. In 20s and 30s, we're a little stuck in our ego, and so we're not really so clearly able to see that. But the fact is that once we are made aware, when our partners say what it is that's upsetting to us, and we don't get defensive, then it's easy to let it go. Oh, you do that? I do that? Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm going to let it go. I didn't really mean to be doing that. It's a neurological pathway. You know, I have a neurological pathway, and I didn't realize that. But once we put a bit of observation, the system that I promote, which is ancient, it's just to observe our own behavior. There's not a pill to take. It's not a multi-dimensional connection. What it is, well, it is at the time, but I'm saying it's not a layer and layer. We meet. If you just observe your own behavior, the truth will set you free. When you observe what you're doing and where you're coming from with more and more intuition and observation, then we let go of these patterns, and in those patterns, then we get back to the moment. We get back to the moment. As I wrote to a friend of mine, she wrote me that I did a reading for about a month or two ago. She's doing very well. That she is telling people how she feels when she feels it, and in that release, the joy is spontaneously coming to her. It never leaves because she's being in the moment rather than being resentful and holding on to it. She's an Enneagram 1, that she holds on to her anger and her frustrations. And since she releases it, then she can't help that the joy will flow to her like gravity because in the moment it just comes. Have you had that experience?
Yes.
Even for a period of time.
Very definitely. And when, because it is true, when you can be just totally present to whatever's happening and really present at a deep soul level, there is joy. That's what it is. And it makes so much easier. Whatever you're involved in flows so much more easily when you come from that place because you're not grasping and holding on.
Okay. So the thing is that what keeps us from being there all the time? What keeps us being all the time is the story that we have to protect ourselves, that there's danger out there, that we don't have enough security. Depends on what the point is, what your individual point is. The point that the story is different for each of the 9 points in the Enneagram, and the astrology just highlights it gives it a graphic to what your particular configuration looks like, or anybody's particular configuration looks like. I can put other words onto it, not only from an Enneagram place, but in an astrological sense. I can describe, for her, for example, she has Mars, the planet of activity, in the 12th house. And so it's hard for her to express her anger is on the ethereal level, 12th house of loss, it's on an ethereal level. And for her to bring her anger down to the physical plane is really difficult. Mm-hmm. This is one churning on their resentment and their inability to express what they feel. Now she expresses what she feels.
Right.
The moment, and the joy can't help but come.
Right, it's there. Yeah. Now
because it's already there. She hasn't blocked it.
You are going to be in Seattle for my Seattle viewers at East West Bookshop in Seattle, July, let's see my dates, July 7th and 8th, I believe.
7th, the 8th, and the 9th. I'm going to be there 3 days.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you'll be giving a talk and a workshop and readings.
Do you want me to tell about it?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so the talk on July 7th at 7:30 to 9. I'm going to be sharing my introduction to astrology and to the Enneagram. And this is both for experienced or novices. It doesn't really matter because I'm really talking about the energy involved in it more than the rules. Right. It's the energy about it is what I want to get to. Okay. And then in the talk, and I share how they work together. I share how they work together, and I go each of the points in order to give people an idea of what is possible. Right. And then on Saturday, I'm going to give a seminar, Enneagram for Self-Awareness, a 4-hour seminar. It's from 10:30 to 3:30, and it's $60. And there'll be a lunch break. And it's going to be an in-depth experience of the Enneagram. I'm going to lead some meditative experiences. I want a big part of this is mindfulness. I want to get you to touch into the observation part. I want people to feel this oneness. We haven't used the word oneness, but the essence, the quiet. I want them to get to the quiet because the fact is, as soon as you feel it, it's so darn addictive that you do everything you can to get back there. Mm-hmm. So what keeps you from being there is that you put misidentifications and wrong ideas and story on top of it in order to pre it up. But what happens is it just clouds it. And then on Sunday I'll be doing readings all day from 12:15 to 6:45, and I'll stay longer, and I'd come earlier. Right. But you sign up at the store. The readings are half hours, hour, and hour and a half. I use 3 modalities: the Enneagram, the Astrology, and my own invention called the Wheel of Totality. Mm-hmm. And I'll just give you just a minute on that. The Wheel of Totality, the Astrology talks about the houses where we have planets, but nobody really talks about the empty houses. The empty houses also contain awarenesses. Mm-hmm. And so in the Wheel of Totality reading, we talk about what are the blind spots, what are the places of ignorance. There are 9 planets and 12 houses, so ignorance is built into the system. Interesting. It's built into our system, and the idea is that by seeing what we are not aware of, it is an incredibly illuminative journey for people, this particular modality, particularly for over 50s, because they start working on it over 50. Mm-hmm. It's your spots, and I call it the map of consciousness. Mm.
And they can see this. I went to your website, which is, and I'll be putting this on the screen for people, but it's Indra Rinzler. Am I saying Rinzler correctly?
Yeah, very good.
So it's INDRARINZLER.com. And so I know up there you have all information about what you do, and I saw that wheel there. And anyway, it's a great description of all of this. So I really recommend people go there and learn more. And then if they want to sign up for your event, they go to eastwestbookshop.com, and I'll also put that so people can see it. So thank you so much for being here. I know it's going to be some exciting events, and I encourage people to go. And thank you for all the work that you're doing on the planet. We all greatly appreciate it.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you so much for inviting me today.
Absolutely, Indra. Take care now. Well, that's certainly a lot to think about as far as this whole idea of getting to that place of stillness. And I think if you meditate at all, you know what he's referring to. What I think would be interesting and is interesting is to try to live that in our lives. You know, it's one thing, and I've said it here before, to be on the meditation cushion or your yoga mat, and everything feels so good and you're so centered. You're just right at that place of joy, and then you get out and get in your car and somebody cuts you off in traffic. So the trick is how to bring that into our daily lives. And I really love what Indra said about getting out of our stories and not just trying to have a better story, because all we're doing is we're just keeping in our story. And how good can it get? Only so far anyway. So anyway, I leave that to you. And do check out the other videos that we have. There have been some really good ones, especially the first one on creativity with Kathy Wild. And I'm going to be adding, very shortly, I'm going to add some more creativity videos. I've got some great folks lined up. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you next time. And remember to keep it real.